Good morning! I've made some more changes to the layout, or changes to the board. But before I get there, I want to talk about roads. Now, there was a few comments saying that for roads, use wet and dry paper. So I got some wet and dry paper and cut it up into appropriate strips. Now I glued the first bit down, turned my back on it to get the second bit. When I came back, it had curled up into a perfect tube. It just didn't like any moisture on the back of it, and it just curled up. So I then tried a different glue, and that seemed to stick down. So I went from here all the way down to that corner, and I did some over here where my little shopping precinct, my town's going to be, and it seemed to stick down. So I left it overnight. I came back up the following day and it looked junk. The other thing about this is where you handle it, then you're putting marks all over it. It's taking the skin off your fingers, sort of thing. So it did look awful, so I ripped it out. I'm getting some black tarmac scatter instead. It's in the post from a model shop, so I'll make my roads with that. I've also been doing some other bits and pieces with Metcalfe. So you can buy these sets which come with cobblestones and curbing and flagstones. So I've been simply starting to lay out the houses, the paving round the houses, and all the paving for my street scene over here. So let's shut up and show you what changes I've made to the layout. So the very first change was I took some spare timber and fitted it in here. So I've got an extra 3 inches, which will give me more space. As you can see, I'm laying out the houses with paving slabs and cobblestones, which is something I didn't do last time. I didn't put patios and paths in properly. I just kind of placed my houses as a bit of an afterthought. So that extra 3 inches just gives me more room for gardens, and I do like creating gardens around these houses. I like doing it properly. I guess it's because I'm a gardener. And then up there at the farm, I did the same thing. In fact, I did the bit at the farm first. Now I'm storing the 122 on that runaround. And that's because I want to make better use of my sidings. So up at the farm, another 3 inches. Badly done, granted. But again, it gives me that little bit more space to create what I want. Here's the biggie coming up in a moment. This is most definitely a big change. But as you can see, that extra 3 inches just makes all the difference to what I want to do. Here's the big change. 20 centimetres, whatever that is in imperial. I wanted more space for a big churchyard like I had last time. And I can wiggle the road round. Now it does look a bit odd. See, I can still reach in there. And I can still reach to that corner, because they aren't corners. If you remember, I cut them off. Those buildings, they look a bit random, but they're not.
And a lot of cobblestone's gone in here around the goods yard, so there's plenty of space for lorries to turn and park, and a cobbled road. And I've put in the level crossing there. I found it in the bottom of a box, so I've refitted it. It's going to be a bit weird with having timber leaping out of the middle of the scenery, but your eyes very soon look past that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the road here and getting creative. And then doing the gardens, because I enjoy doing the gardens, as I said, around the houses. And then over there I've got the cattle dock, so I got the cattle wagons out to do that bit. That's where the 122 is going to be stored. And then at this end, hold it steady, Simon. So at this end I've started defining where my road is going to be with the Metcalfe kit, with these flagstones. That's going to be courtyard, so you'll recognise this kind of layout from my previous layout. And the petrol station, and the garage, and the taxi rank. That's the entrance to the station. I still got to build some steps or a ramp or some means of getting to the doorway. And I put a square in where the fire station's going to be. And I've got another level crossing on order, so I'll have to scratch out the ballast to make it fit. I didn't put any buildings on this side of the road because all you're doing is staring at the back of them, so I've got a lot of fencing to put in to divide the railway land from the public land. New building there is the police station. That wasn't cheap, there was a lot of people bidding for that one. There's the pub and another corner shop to go on this end, that's new. One of the things I like about this layout are the embankments, because then you get to look up at the layout as opposed to just looking down on top.
So that's the list of changes. Nothing dramatic really. You know, putting a piece of timber in here to give you an extra 3 inches just so you can have a bit more space for your buildings. That's fairly sensible. It doesn't even get in the way. Adding 20 centimetres down there though was a bit of a gamble. Now I did measure it first. I did stand there and figure out if I could actually reach the back of the board first before I actually went ahead with that. But it gives me so much more space, and I know those 4 houses or whatever, they seem dotted about at random. But I've got a plan in here for how the road is going to wiggle round. I know this stuff by Metcalfe. This card, flagstones and cobblestones. It's not great, but it's thick, heavy card, very thick card. It glues down very easily to a flat surface, and it does a job. It certainly saves someone like me an awful lot of bother. I've still got my reading glasses on. Where's my glasses? There you go, I can see myself in the screen now. So, waiting on the tarmac scatter to do my roads. Then I can start over here on some greenery. I've got signals to make. I've got signal kits. I know nothing about signals. I've done a little bit of research. I'm not going to bother if I get it wrong. All I'm going to have is a signal here and a signal there and where I think they might want to go. But I'm not bothered if it's wrong. And if anyone tells me that it's wrong in the comments, I'll say, so what? I don't care. Right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to tell you. No, there's nothing else I want to tell you right now. So I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ra!